Hey guys, it's Raelle Victor from Cult Classics and Cult Following. We just watched the season 2 premiere of The Blood of the Freeform original Motherland, Fort Salem. Find out my thoughts right now. So yeah, I'm actually a really big fan of this show. We binge watched the season this past week, and while this show was originally airing, I was a big fan of it, but we didn't really cover TV shows here on Cult Classics at the time. But damn, I really liked the show. I was a big fan of Supernatural and like the serialized supernatural horror aspect of it, but I really like alternate histories. And if you like something like Man in the High Castle, something that's like an alternate history with like a supernatural or like sci-fi edge to it, then this show should be right up your alley. It follows this alternate America where witches helped America win the Revolutionary War, and in return they basically took the place of the United States military, and anyone in their bloodline who's like a witch from a matrilineal line ends up serving, and all their descendants serve moving forward through the ages. And it follows a company of 3 witches, Raelle Collar, Abigail, Bellweather, and Craven, who meet at basically this boot camp where they've enlisted to serve so they can go to war college and move forward and their military witch career. I don't know why, I just think it's really cool and interesting. And along the way in season 1, there is a witch terrorist organization called the Spree that's trying to take down the army, and they're a consistent foe throughout that season. Raelle, who happens to be a lesbian, she falls in love with this girl Scylla, who turns out to be an agent of the Spree, and it's like the star-crossed Romeo and Juliet kind of thing going on. And when we think they're leading up to like the final kind of meet-up or matchup between these two forces, it turns out that this like collective of witch hunters, their ancient enemy called the Camarilla, have resurfaced. So the Spree are now going to fight the Camarilla just like the army have been. And the Camarilla, basically they kill witches and cut out their voice boxes, because witches use their powers through vocalization on this show. They sing songs or vocalize, and that's how their power exerts. Think like Banshee in X-Men. That's basically it. But the Camarilla don't have powers, so they have like voice boxes, which they use to like through technology animate the voice boxes of dead witches to work like a twisted form of witchcraft as antagonists. So I think that's kind of cool too. And the way that season 1 ended, we think Raelle, who's like the main character, and Abigail, who's kind of like a descendant of a powerful military witch line, are killed. And Tally, who's kind of an empath, she ends up sacrificing her life, literally, by becoming joined with the general of the witch army, General Alder, who's over 300 years old. She's been leading the army since revolutionary times, and she does that by surrounding herself with an army of what are called biddies. Like, it's these 10 women, and basically she siphons off their life force to continue living. And it's like not like a parasitic thing, it's like a symbiotic thing. So one of her biddies is killed during an ambush by the Camarilla, and Tally takes the place of the dead Biddy, and in doing so, she becomes an old woman. Like, she's supposed to be like in her 18 years old in this, and she becomes like somebody in their 70s, all Craven and sucking in. The makeup is actually really cool. So the way this show takes up, it turns out that Raelle and Abigail survive because during season 1, Raelle had bonded with this kind of like fungus that basically I know it sounds silly, that basically supercharged her powers, because before then she was just a healer and she would take like the injuries on herself. But once she like touched this ancient fungus in the earth, which we find out in this episode, everything is kind of tied together through these lines that are similar to the fungus, so it might be a source of their power. Once she touched this, she was able to basically not take injury, and her powers became supercharged. And when Raelle and Abigail fall and are almost taken out, they do this explosion, which we find out actually kills all the Camarilla and turns them into like basically just stock for funguses to grow out of. And they end up being rescued by rangers sent out to find them, that they're originally captured because they think they're shapeshifters, because the spree shapeshift through this working where they light their faces on fire, and while they're burning they can reshape into anything they want. And we find out also that the reason the spree in season 1 turned around and basically decided to stop fighting the army is because their whole leadership was taken out by a plague bomb. The spree, the Camarilla also use these bombs that like basically turn into plague and kill everybody and desiccate them. Which during season 1, the army rescued this village of a nomadic village on the border of Russia and China called the Tarim, who have very powerful magic that they won't share with anyone. And those two refugees, Tarim and Kalita, are still with the army, and the Tarim is what the village is called. But Kalita's brother falls in love with Abigail, and once she finds out that he's still alive, he's even more attached to wanting to stay at the barracks for the Fort Salem for the foreseeable future, which Kalita is not a big fan of. We also find out that Scylla, we find out the leader of the spree is actually Raelle's mom. I know it's very soap opera, but it's really interesting. And she's the only member of the leadership that survived the plague bomb. And now her and Scylla are going to go undercover to try to smoke out the Camarilla, which are holding these rallies at spree attack sites, because the spree also kill and attack humans. So it makes sense that humans would want to join up with the Camarilla and kill some witches. So they're trying to find out, get in, infiltrate, The other big thing is the general decides to offers Tally the chance to sever her link as a biddy and to return to her old life, especially when she finds that Raelle and Abigail are still alive. And when she does this, it's a really cool special effect, by the way, blended practical and morphing, which is always the best way to do these things. Once she does that, it turns out this link is super deep, so she starts experiencing Collar's past as dreams, including her past fights with Camarilla. So we see one as a dream she has where they're attacking the Camarilla, and the Camarilla make these worms and cockroaches attack them, and they make them giant. And the CGI for this is really good and really freaky. So you see these giant worms which look really realistic, and cockroaches, which are like dog size, start attacking them. It's really freaky. Like, I commend the special effects budget right here. This is like, oh my god, I want to see like a real horror movie do this, because worms look really gross. Imagine one that's like 2-3 feet long, like, ugh, gross, and then starts biting and attacking them, it peels up, you see all the feelers. So yeah, I thought this was a really cool sequence. If anything, just find the first episode to watch that. It's near the end of the episode. It's really cool and gross looking. But yeah, the big thing is you find out in the wake of this attack, other witches whose bloodlines have been kind of lost are starting to awaken. And there's this really cool sequence at the beginning where this girl is singing in a church in a choir, and when she starts singing, of course, the vocalizations start coming out. And it's weird, it's one of those things where, things are in the air. It reminded me a lot, this sequence of from the Nevers, where the girl whose power is to find other people who are touched starts kind of like, acting out, except her power is melting all the stained glass windows in the church. And it's a really cool sequence. This was directed by Amanda Tapping, who's actually, if you might remember her from Stargate SG-1, she was Carter, big important character. This is a 90s show, so it might be beyond you, but it was a very popular cult show, Stargate SG-1. But yeah, it turns out she's the daughter of the vice president, and now she's being conscripted. So now the vice president is getting involved in the show, and he's played by Victor Webster, who used to be on another cult 90s Canadian TV show I used to watch called Mutant X. And it's funny, Victor Webster, who's actually the runner-up, he almost played Superman in the 2006 Superman Returns, but Brandon Routh got that part. But if you watch this episode, the whole time you're watching, like, damn, he really looks like Superman. Still, just salt and pepper. But yeah, I mean, the big thing, there's a lot of storylines going on, but I'm really excited about where the show's going moving forward, especially now that you find out that Raelle and Abigail's shared power is very powerful. Like, Abigail has sex with Kalita's brother, and there's like an earthquake happening, and Raelle really misses her girlfriend, but she's like trying to make do. And it's a good show. I'm really excited for the next episode. It sets up a lot of stuff that looks interesting. Again, take it from me, if you haven't watched this show, just check it out. It's on Freeform. It's also on Hulu next day, so you can tune into Hulu and watch it right now. Just binge watch the first season. It's like 8 episodes. It's really good, and it'll suck you in. But yeah, I'm gonna start doing reviews of this every week. I mean, we both hit at the same time right out, so I'll just do Loki and Motherland. And yeah, I hope you check it out. If you enjoy it, please check it out. And yeah, stay tuned. More stuff coming up down the line. Subscribe, hit the bell icon, and we'll talk to you soon. See you guys.